Sri Lankan Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya landed in New Delhi today in India for a 3-day visit. She is expected to visit her college, the Hindu college at the Delhi University. In fact, she's already done that. Today's a day-long visit of the Sri Lankan Prime Minister promises a blend of nostalgia, celebration and a showcase of college evolution with formal ceremonies, cultural performances and meaningful interactions that highlight the deep ties between India and Sri Lanka. Remember, the Sri Lankan Prime Minister is set to attend NDTV World Summit, the biggest global thought leaders platform. Summit is being held in the capital on October 17 and 18th. We're joined by Vasudha on this. Vasudha, take us through the broader significance of Sri Lankan Prime Minister's visit to India at this point. She's part of the NDTV World Summit as well. How are India-Sri Lanka relations set to evolve in the current regional context, and what are the key areas of collaboration both sides are expected to highlight?
Well, 24 hours to go for NDTV World Summit 2025, Radhika, and I come to you from outside the venue of NDTV World Summit 2025. This is the iconic Bharat Mandapam, and I remember covering the G20 presidency that India hosted at Bharat Mandapam just 2 years ago, and the consensus statement that had come out talked about the importance of dialogue when it comes to the war between Ukraine and Russia. 2 years, a lot has actually happened, and now finally there's this NDTV World Summit that will also discuss the importance of India in international conflict and collaborations. And you see not just Harini Amarasuriya, who's the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, but also former Prime Minister of UK Rishi Sunak will be participating in this summit. We also have former Prime Minister of Australia Tony Abbott, who has played a very important role when it comes to Indo-Pacific ties. He'll also be participating in this summit. And the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to speak tomorrow evening at around 8 o'clock, and he is expected to outline the importance of India in world affairs and also in the changing world order, and the importance of global diplomacy when it comes to Viksit Bharat. Harini Amarasuriya this is her first official trip to India after she assumed charge as the Prime Minister. She is an important voice when it comes to academic rigor, and she's somebody who's taken very seriously when it comes to gender issues, labor, constitutional reforms in Sri Lanka. And it's a matter of great pride for India. She actually studied in Hindu college at Delhi University, and she is going to be in her alma mater today, and she's going to be talking to students, and she's going to be felicitated, and she's going to be also in some ways visiting the classroom where she studied sociology, talking to her professors. So it's going to be an emotional homecoming for her as well. But when it comes to official matters, she will be of course meeting the Prime Minister. Dr. S. Jaishankar is expected to talk to her as well. So clearly lots lined up for Harini Amarasuriya. Remember, this is a new government that came into power, and only 3 months ago the Prime Minister thanked Anura Kumara Dissanayake, the President of Sri Lanka, for having an approach that puts India's interests also at the forefront. So clearly a lot is expected today, but when it comes to NDTV World Summit, you can expect a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of dialogue on what the future of the world looks like, what kind of impact does trade and AI have on matters of the world, and how a country like India can play a very important critical role when it comes to international conflicts and collaborations.
Absolutely, Vasudha. And also, if I may ask a couple of more questions, what message does her choice to visit her alma mater really before the formal bilateral meetings send about people-to-people diplomacy and India's cultural influence? One, and as far as the summit itself is concerned, how significant is it that the summit is hosting sitting former prime ministers together at a time of rising polarization in world politics? We are seeing policy makers, world leaders, and of course national leaders all in one platform.
That's right. International collaborations, when it comes to India's role, it's very important to understand that India has often played the role of a peacemaker. It has often talked about how it's important to have dialogue when it comes to international conflict. And we have seen this in the case of both Ukraine and Russia as well. And Prime Minister has often spoken about how this is not an era of war, and this is a changing world order. And the Prime Minister is expected to speak on those lines. When it comes to to Harini Amarasuriya. Yes, India and Sri Lanka shared very important civilizational ties. Yes, there have been ups and downs in this in the relations between these two countries. We've gone through a lot, but recently when Sri Lanka faced an economic crisis, it was India that stepped up and really helped Sri Lanka come out of that crisis. And we've also seen the President AKD have a very different approach to India vis-a-vis what he had during his campaign. Harini Amarasuriya especially has been often, talking about the importance of bilateral trade and cooperation. Yes, of course, there is that contentious issue of fishermen as well. She's expected to speak to the Prime Minister and, of course, to the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar. But her visit to Hindu College remains the highlight of her trip because it also shows how India has played an important role in shaping the politician and the public intellectual that she is today.